Alex Sotiropoulos here with Maroons women's basketball coach Roussell. Coach Roussell, two big wins on the weekend, extending the winning streak 20 games this season, 20-0. What can you first tell me about your reaction to the Emory game and how it went given last week's game as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about last week that two games that obviously make you really nervous and against two really good teams, both on the road. I was really impressed and really extremely proud of how our girls came out ready to play on Friday. I mean, to their credit, they have not rested. They have not sat here and tried to sit here and say, hey, we have this record and we're better and we just beat this team, so it should be fine. And they never had that attitude. I'm not going to say that they were worried, but I think they knew that this was going to be a tough game, and I thought they were ready for it. I thought that we really competed hard on Friday night and won the toughness battle. I thought got to a lot of loose balls, and I was really impressed. That was a tough game. I know sometimes people look at the scores and just think that you coasted. That wasn't at all the case. And we had a good week of practice last week, and I think you saw the result of it on Friday.
Now, aside from the win in itself, Megan Herrick hits her 1,000th point. What can you tell me about her performances, the last 4 years and how big this is?
Yeah, she's a competitor, and I mean she's part of the reasons why we've been able to win some games is she just doesn't let us lose, and I think it's good to get her that notoriety. I don't think it's something that she's necessarily pushing for, but it was good for her to get it, and I was really hoping she could have gotten it done at home the weekend before, but like I said, I don't think it really is bothering her, and it was a nice achievement for her.
Against Rochester, what do you think they did differently going into that game, given that Rochester was up 6 points at halftime?
Well, I think part of it, Jim's a really good coach, and they were, I wouldn't say desperate, but they had both of us had a really tough game on Friday, and I think our kids were, that travel can take a lot out of you. Not at all making excuses. I don't even think it was a factor, but I think our kids kind of came into it, I don't know, tired, but they had a lot of energy, and they really knew that they had to get that one on Sunday, and they came out and played really hard. I thought Jim had a really good game plan going into it, and I thought that they executed well, and it really just made us uncomfortable, I think, offensively in the first half. And we kind of challenged our kids a little bit at halftime, and I felt like we were kind of getting out-efforted. I think that's more of a credit to Rochester than it was necessarily taken away from our kids. But I thought they wanted it more. I thought they played harder, and I thought that we kind of minimized that gap and hopefully overcame that gap in the second half.
And can you tell me a little bit about the second half, how you overcame that gap?
I obviously at halftime you're always talking about adjustments and things that you're doing differently. I really felt that our kids just kind of had that want to on Sunday, and I don't mean that to take away from any of our opponents. I just thought that our kids felt like, oh my God, we might lose this game at halftime, and we're getting outworked, and kind of said, hey, if we're going to lose, let's at least lose, playing really well and playing really hard. I didn't think that we had that, or at least we didn't match Rochester in that first half on Sunday. So, a lot of credit goes to those 5 seniors. They just kind of had an attitude that they really just kind of took over the game, and that was what you saw at the end of the game.
Speaking about another one of those 5 seniors, Morgan Herrick, her performances this past weekend landed her on the D3Hoops.com Team of the Week, first ever showing on this. What can you tell me about her big, explosive performances, averaging 18.6 rebounds on the weekend?
Yeah, she was really good. I thought she'd been really good the last 2 weeks and really been good for us for a year and a half now. And she's just, I'd say just now getting healthy, but, she had a knee surgery in December, and I'm just happy and thankful for her that she's been able to stay healthy. And I was giving her a hard time this past weekend. She hasn't practiced a whole lot in the last 2 weeks, and you see that she's been playing really well. And hopefully, our other kids don't get too many ideas about a lack of practice and what it does to you. But in all seriousness, I think she's really battled, and she's played through some injuries. She's played through. This has not been easy for Morgan, and I'm really proud of the way that she's stepped up in some big games here over the last 2 weeks.
Now, looking ahead to this week's games, Carnegie on Friday, Sundays against Case. Going to Carnegie's game, big win last time. What can you tell me about previewing for that one?
Yeah, I thought we played really, really well last time. And our kids know that we played really well. And I think our kids know that Carnegie didn't necessarily play well this past game, or the last time that we saw them. So I can assure you there's no sense of overconfidence just because we beat them by whatever we beat them by last time. And our kids know that every game is going to be tough, and whether it's at home, whether it's on the road. And I didn't really have to say that much to our kids this week about, hey, just be careful about overlooking them. They don't. They know that we played really well, and that doesn't mean automatically that we get it done on Friday just because of what we did last time. So, they've got some very good players. They've got some good young kids on the perimeter that are going to be scary for us, and I'm definitely nervous.
Now, probably the game that a lot of people are looking at, the Case game. At Case, you were down by 9 points at halftime, overcame that deficit to win. What are your thoughts about that?
Another really strong program. Jen's done a tremendous job, here over the years, and they've been a tough one for us over the years. Very athletic team. They've got 2-3 just phenomenal scores. Maybe maybe the best even combination. At least arguably the best combination of scoring players out there with Iacono and Hollinger. And at least hopefully I think this might be the last time we get to see Erin Hollinger play, and that's probably a good thing for us. She's a great kid, great player, but in a lot of ways I'm not going to miss her. But she's been a tough matchup for us over the years, and they hit some shots last time. I felt like we weren't hitting shots, and they came and competed, and they're going to have a tough game on Friday just like we are, so it'll be interesting to see how both teams come into it on Sunday. But we need to make sure that we're ready for both these two this weekend, no question.
Now, of course, you never want to lose a game, but being 20-0 now, there are probably a lot of expectations. I wouldn't say would you rather have a loss in the regular season, but going into the tournament, would it loosen a lot of the nerves and a lot of the expectations?
I really don't think so, and it's not something I've really thought that much about. I mean, I kind of half-jokingly said, before I went in and talked to our kids at halftime, it was kind of like, look up, and you're like, all right, I get it. We learned our lesson. Let's make sure that we've learned this lesson without having to take a loss on Sunday. And I think that they exposed us on some things, and we know that we have to show up and play hard, every half of every game. And I didn't think that we necessarily did that on Sunday. So I think we learned that lesson. And anytime you lose a game, I feel like it really drives home those lessons. But to our kids' credit, they haven't been overconfident. I feel like they've been able to have some lessons that they've been taught to them this year without having to tag a loss on them. And I know this sounds boring, but we take it every game and one game at a time. And if we happen to drop one, we happen to drop one. But I don't think we're looking to drop one to help us down the road. I think we want to make sure that we try to win the next game. And if we keep doing that, then I'm not worried about what our record's going to be at the end.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No. I mean, like I said, two tough games this weekend, and obviously Pink Night, Pink Zone on Friday. So it'll be a great celebration for a great cause, and something that's near and dear to a lot of us. And hopefully we can have a good showing on Friday.
There you have it, Coach Roussell's take on last weekend's games, the wins, 20-0 season. Friday, the Maroons open up against Carnegie at 6 p.m.